It's time for the Alien Conspiracy Podcast. We are your hosts, Agent ETA,
Agent Ether,
and Agent Anderson. Come along as we examine UFO sightings, conspiracies, and all things strange. You can follow the show on Twitter at AlienConPod. We also have an email address, alienconpod@protonmail.com. We would love to hear from you. And don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Discord. This week's episode, Craig from the Hallofiend podcast.
Hey, welcome, Craig.
Howdy.
Buenos dias.
How you guys doing?
Pretty good. How you doing? So we're having a special guest this week. Craig from the Hallofiend podcast. It's a Halloween-themed podcast, which I thought was perfect since Halloween's coming up. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your podcast, Craig?
Well, it's still obviously early. I've only got a few episodes under my belt, but basically I'm just Halloween has always been very important to me. Like it's been my favorite time of year since I was a little kid. And I kind of wanted to get into podcasting after I got this microphone for recording my music and stuff. And I decided that I would try podcasting. And I figured Halloween would be a good topic since it's something I love so much. And I figured that would make it easier to research, keep my interest while researching and make it easy. Like it'd be a good topic I could do multiple episodes about and still remain interested in. So.
Well, that's really awesome.
What it's about.
Were you one of those people who, decorate, like totally deck out for Halloween, like one would for Christmas?
Oh, I definitely decorate. I don't know if I go as far out as some of the people in my neighborhood do, but I put up a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's a special time of year. A lot of fun to be had.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of candy and sexy costumes.
Oh, yeah. Don't get me started on the sexy costumes. Some of them are highly inappropriate. Do you know you can be sexy Fauci this year? I swear it's a thing. I saw it online.
That's insane.
And I looked it up. I went online and looked up this costume, and it's everything it sounds like.
All right, now I have to check this now. I have to Google this real quick. Let me see here. Sexy Fauci. I know I'm going to regret this.
Well, who knows what you're going to come up with if you Google just that. There could be all kinds of political cartoons out there.
That could be bad.
Halloween costume. I'm just going to emphasize that.
I did forget to put Halloween costume. Let's do that.
I don't want to know what you pulled up.
Photos. There was one year I was a sexy sloth from the Goonies.
That's hot.
But only because I'm sexy, though.
All right, this mask is horrific.
So that was a lot of fun.
Okay.
Is it at least like a good quality mask?
It looks like it. I mean, it just you could look at pictures. It'll be essentially like, a hot looking lady wearing a old man mask.
No, it's like a little mini skirt and like a tie and.
Yeah. I mean, okay. But still, it's
the whole ensemble. Okay.
Yeah, it's still it's alarming. All right, so let's get to some Halloween-related topics. So you've covered a few topics on your show already. You have a couple episodes under your belt, but it's a fairly new show, and I imagine there's a lot that you haven't gotten into yet. But first, let's talk a little bit about the history of Halloween. So this is something that I knew almost nothing about until I listened to your episode on it.
Yeah, I'm actually right now in the process of writing like the official full episode dedicated to at least the early origins of Halloween, which goes back like thousands and thousands of years to the Celts. So yeah, that episode will be out soon. I haven't officially addressed that like comprehensively in one episode, but yeah, so getting into it basically on the most basic level, it all ties back to an ancient Celtic celebration known as Samhain, which is still celebrated to this day, obviously by like neo-pagans, but basically, it was just an observance of the autumn equinox because the way the pagans saw it, the year was divided up into 4 albans, and within each album they had a fire festival, and there were 2 that were really important throughout the year, and the one being the the Spring Fire Festival, which I kind of forget the name, so I'm not going to try, and the second being Samhain. And Samhain, which basically translates to end of summer, was it was believed that the sun god would die off, not to return again until Yuletide, and which is in December. And it was also believed, being a transitional period between seasons, that the gateway between the mortal realm and the realm of the spirit realm was at its thinnest. So you had spirits of all kinds, good and evil, passing over and passing through. So it was a time of and is a time of being a little superstitious of the spirits. And and actually a lot of our modern day Halloween traditions can be traced back to this ancient celebration, including apple bobbing, even, and trick or treating, and jack-o'-lanterns, and costumes. All of it stems back to this Samhain celebration.
Well, I had no idea it had such ancient roots.
Bobbing for apples, the number one way to get COVID.
No, does anyone even bob for apples anymore?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it for a long time.
I did when I was a kid. What about you guys?
So gross.
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid too, yeah.
I've personally never done it.
It's really hard.
It's not that gross.
No, you're aiming for one apple.
It is.
Yeah.
It actually has a magical roots. The practice of bobbing for apples was actually an act of divination. So it was mostly used as a fortune telling vehicle. You mostly in the romantic sense. You could determine whether or not you're going to be married if you actually were able to catch an apple, or you could determine the first letter of your spouse's name.
Oh.
I'm glad you explained that, because I was going to ask what that word divination meant. I was like, what in the word now?
Well, divination is just folk magic and stuff. And it's interesting because I never really knew what the word meant until I started looking into it. And I've even seen people within my own family practice ancient acts of folk magic, like the whole doweling thing where you take two rods out and two copper rods trying to look for water. That's actually an ancient divination ritual, I guess. So
yeah. Well, it's one of those ancient techniques that actually seems to work,
Yeah.
But yeah,
I don't know if you're determining who your spouse is going to be by bobbing for apples, but maybe the latter one works.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be nice if it was so easy?
As long as the water's shallow enough, you might make it apple cord.
Yeah.
All right. Now, I found online that I thought I'd sort of disperse some of these throughout the discussion here. On icebreakerideas.com, I found a bunch of Halloween trivia questions. I thought it'd be fun to go over some of these. And the cool thing about this is that on their website, the answers are hidden. So I can actually read the questions and try to answer it myself, because I don't know the answer until I click show anser. So
it's like a contest.
Yeah.
See who gets the most points.
So the first one is
Trivial Pursuit.
yeah. Halloween edition. Okay, so
if only we had a digital game board here on Discord.
I know, dude. I bet they have that. There has to be a bot for that. All right. So
I'm sure there is.
Question number 1. In which country did Halloween originate?
I thought it was England.
I thought Craig just said that.
I know, but I was just saying that before that.
Ethiopia.
It's actually Ireland.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I would have said wherever the Scousers live. That's what I would have said.
Oh, you know about Scousers?
Yeah,
get knocked out.
That's true. They don't.
Sorry.
All right.
I'm a Patty the Batty Pimlet fan.
All right. Let's throw one more in there before we move on to something else for a little bit. Which Catholic Church holiday is Halloween linked to?
All Hallows Eve.
Is that a Catholic Church holiday?
I don't think it is, but it's the only thing I could think of.
Is it? Okay.
It
is.
All right.
Yeah.
I had no idea, so I would have answered I don't know. Let's see.
Well, when the Catholics came over, started infiltrating the Celtic mainlands, they really wanted to convert the pagans over to Catholicism, and one of the ways they went about doing that was trying to adopt their celebrations and traditions into their own. So that's why Christmas, Easter, and Halloween all have very pagan roots. And they did so by making a series of holidays called All Hallows Tide, which essentially replaced Samhain, because Samhain's actually a 3-day festival that starts on the 31st and goes until the 2nd of November. So technically Halloween's a religious holiday.
Interesting.
A Christian holiday.
That's funny because a lot of Christians do not celebrate Halloween.
Yeah. It says All Saints Day.
Yeah.
All Saints or Hallows Day is what the answer is here.
Yeah. All Hallows Eve is what became Halloween, which is the day that takes place before Samhain, and they made the day of Samhain All Saints Day, and then the day after that was All Souls Day.
Oh, look at that!
So it's like,
does that word sound like a preservative or something?
Yeah. A lot of people call it Samhain because it's spelt like the word Samhain, but the proper pronunciation of it is Samhain.
I wonder where did the whole sweets, like the candy thing with Halloween start? Do you know that?
Yeah. So the Celts believed the like I said, that the veil between the living and the dead was at its thinnest. So either good spirits or bad spirits could be afoot. And there's a tradition that is called guising or mumming, which essentially is trick or treating. And there's actually a Celtic word for it, but I can't remember what it is. And in Europe, they still refer to trick or treating as guising or mumming. And basically, people would dress as the spirits and go receive offerings. They'd go door to door reciting praises or singing songs and whatnot in return for goods or offerings of, different types. And I think it changed throughout the years. But basically, it was thought that if they represented the spirits in effigy, basically, by wearing this dress, they could receive these offerings and gifts from other people in their village on behalf of the spirits, therefore appeasing any, bad spirits that were out there. The whole holiday is super superstitious. It's all about, giving praise to your loved ones, and then also any means of protection you can use against the bad spirits that are also out at this time.
So what's your opinion on candy
I think,
corn?
to me, one of the more...
It's all right. It's not my favorite, but I can eat it.
He actually has
candy corns are right.
An episode.
Yeah, go ahead, ETA.
Well, from what I understand, candy corn made in 1957.
What's that?
It's 1957.
From what I understand, all the candy corn. Oh, am I really like a low volume or something?
Yeah, you're a little lower than everybody else.
Edit. People are saying when we record live, he's also very, very quiet.
Yeah, he tends to be quieter than everybody else for some reason.
Okay.
Oh, really?
That's always the case.
But only live. I mean, he fixes it up sharp for the.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there's two ways you can fix that: is either get closer to the microphone or turn up the gain on the microphone. And
I'm pretty close to the microphone.
There you go.
That's much better.
Did you turn up your gain? Because you sound much louder.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
You should keep it there.
Well,
that way.
What I was trying to say before is, from what I understand, all the candy corn in existence was made in 1957.
Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah. And they just keep using the same batch.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I just stole a joke. I don't remember what comedy special that was from, but whoever did it was from, thank you. I want to say it was like a Bill Burr or something like that, or maybe Dave Attell. It might have been Dave Attell, actually.
Yeah, that doesn't sound.
Anyways, I digress.
That doesn't sound like a Bill Burr joke, but you never know.
I heard it's the most hated candy in America.
Yeah, and as I was saying,
yeah, it would seem that way.
Yeah, it's actually.
I'm sure it's not Almond Joy.
It's not.
I love Almond Joy.
Almond Joy.
Candy corn is one of those.
There's two different types of people in this world.
Those who like Almond Joy and those who like Mounds. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Well,
I'm a big fan of Butterfinger. That much.
Can you like Mounds and Almond Joy? I mean,
no, one has nuts and one doesn't, because sometimes
Mounds
you
is
feel like a nut.
acceptable.
See,
sometimes you don't.
See, one or the other.
Yeah, I guess. Or both. What if you ate both at the same time? You got the fun size ones.
That's just sacrilege.
Create like a lightning storm in your mouth.
It's gluttony in its best form. It might be one of life's great indulgences. Who knows?
What if you made a peanut butter sandwich with peanut butter between one Mounds and one Almond Joy?
I don't know. Society would collapse.
Now we're talking. Let's do it.
Okay. Well, Craig, what's your favorite? What's your favorite candy?
Me?
Yeah.
Reese's or Snickers.
Yeah.
One of those two.
There you go.
Hell yeah, brother.
Can't go wrong with those.
That's the upside to having a kid is, once he goes out and trick-or-treating, me and my wife, we get to, skim the cream off the top.
Oh, oh my goodness. How dare you? No, that's funny because my eldest, who is now a teenager, every Halloween will tell me, Mom, you stole my Reese's. Like, he's never going to let me live it down. It was like that one year where he was old enough to know, and he knew he had one in his Halloween sack, and then it went missing. And he's like, Mom, you ate my candy. And like every year.
I think it was his fault for only getting one.
No, I think he'd eaten all the other ones.
Too.
I think he ate all the other ones.
Oh, well, that's on him then. I mean,
yeah,
it's only one.
He had the chance.
Now I have to hear about it every year, so till I die.
You know what though? Like when I do see when I'm at work or something, like a lot of times around Halloween, like you get candy bowls put out in the office and stuff like that. So like Kit Kats, Reese's, and like for me at least Whoppers. I don't know. It is what it is. Like Whoppers is one of my favorite ones. You know what I mean?
Oh, those are the best.
But yeah, those are the first to go. Those are always the first to go. Kit Kats, Snickers, Reese's or Whoppers. There might be other really good, like Three Musketeers is pretty solid. You know what I mean? But like, yeah, those are usually the last to go. Reese's is always the first, I think.
Yeah, I like Butterfingers. I think it's probably my favorite.
Oh yeah.
Don't lay a finger on
that's
my
one of those top
Butterfinger.
tier ones.
Yeah. That's how effective was that advertising campaign that we still remember it so many years later?
Or advertising campaigns in general.
Right.
I have all these jingles stuck in my head.
I know.
When was that? Like that campaign was that like the mid '90s?
It had to have been. That's when it was popular.
Mid to late, I imagine. Yeah. I mean,
it went into the 2000s as well.
I'm sure they recycle it.
I remember it.
Yeah, I'm sure they have to recycle it every year too. But
well, hey, if it's working, it's working, right?
I don't get commercials anymore, mostly because I watch stuff on like Netflix and stuff. So I almost never see commercials anymore.
Same.
All right, that did not count. That's not a tangent. That is related.
Well, this whole episode's a tangent.
No, I suppose it is.
Right?
Tangent.
I think I was sort of mentioned, I'm not sure if it got through, but I mentioned Craig actually has an episode. Shorter episodes, he's come up with this term that I think is really excellent. He calls them fun size episodes, I believe. Is that?
That's so original.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that's great.
It fits with the Halloween motif.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
And you did one on the history of candy corn, which I thought was fascinating that there even is a documented history of candy corn.
Oh, yeah.
That's great.
It actually, I mentioned in the episode, candy corn was a big deal back in the day. And it actually, the Jelly Belly company ended up buying it off of the company that was originally manufacturing it. And the production and sale of candy corn actually kept the Jelly Belly company afloat through World War I and the Great Depression. So it actually used to be, and still is, it's pretty, as much as people hate it, it's a pretty popular item. I think.
Well, is it true? Is it true that candy corn is 70% wax?
From what I remember about candy corn, because I actually didn't research that for the episode. I just went off memory because, as nerdy as it sounds, I listened to a podcast about it before, and it's mostly just sugar, syrup, and marshmallow, and that's kind of melded together, and then it becomes candy corn, which is super waxy. So if there's not wax in it, I'm not really sure why it has that consistency, but it does.
And I'm obviously talking shit, but to be honest, I throughout the years I have had my moods for candy corn. I'm not a hater on it,
Right.
I think candy corn is all right. It's one of those things where if you have a sweet tooth and you need a fix, it'll do its job. It'll work.
And you only really see it once a year, so it's not like you're that burnt out on it. Like you don't get burnt out.
We've already gone.
If you do like it,
we've already gone through 2 bags of candy corn in my house. So I just wanted to throw that in there. It's not even Halloween.
Wow.
Well, kids will eat literally anything with sugar.
I kind of.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I kind of equate it to like eggnog, like we were talking about earlier. Like I see like eggnog or candy corn is kind of in the same realm, because like for me at least, I kind of have to be in the mood for one of those. You know what I mean? It's not
Right.
something I'm gonna ever really eat or drink often.
Right. And
But
they're
when I
both,
am in the
I
mood
feel
for
like,
it-
equally hated too.
Wait,
Yeah.
people don't
Yeah.
like
Hey,
eggnog?
eggnog and rum is all right though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my wife hates it. She thinks it's disgusting.
Oh, I
Wow.
love
I
eggnog.
remember when I was younger. All right, so I remember at a party when we were younger. Agent Anderson, you might remember this, but we had a husky, one of our dogs, and one of our uncles decided to let it drink a bunch of eggnog and rum, and
Oh my
Oh, wow.
goodness.
that dog got messed up.
Oh, that sucks.
I'm sure.
It does. You remember Nico?
Oh yeah, poor Nico.
He was a very independent dog, but an awesome dog though. Had one blue eye and two brown eyes.
Too nice.
That's 3.
Well, a gold eye, a blue eye, and a brown eye.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for. I'm sorry, I'm a sinner.
Well, somebody has to be, right?
So,
Well,
here's one of the things I actually wanted to talk about. I
Yeah.
was a little excited to talk about is costumes.
all right.
What are like some of the costumes you guys have been like most proud of, or like put together like really well, or it just ended up being a hit? You know what I mean? Or very fun.
I'll start. I got one year.
When I was a
Oh yeah, go ahead, Craig.
go ahead.
No, go for it, Craig. It's all
Oh, I
yours.
was just gonna say, if we were talking about like, are we talking about like childhood?
I guess anytime really. I mean,
Oh.
well,
Well, I think
there is two very different separate periods though. You're absolutely right to that. About that. It's like childhood costumes are very different from when you become older and you start partying. Because the Halloween parties are very different when you're old, obviously.
right.
Yeah, all kinds of different. But anyways, yeah, I guess I would break it up into two different categories. I would suppose.
Let's
like
do-
childhood.
yeah,
and,
let's
and
do
adult
childhood.
costumes.
Well, as a child, I think I was Michael Myers for like 3 years in a row because I was obsessed with
Classic.
Halloween ever since I was it was honestly, it was one of the first movies I remember seeing as a kid, which I mean, could raise questions about what my parents were letting me do. But I think I was Michael Myers for like 3 or 4 years. So that's got to be my number one from childhood.
Nice. I think like from what I remember, I always dressed up every year. But like when I was a child, I didn't put nearly as much effort into it as when I was, an
Right.
adult, I think the character I think I was probably most often was a vampire from what I remember, like like Dracula,
Classic.
It's a good classic.
it's kind of it's an easy go.
Did you have wax teeth or plastic teeth?
Right, but it's traditional.
plastic?
Plastic teeth.
Yeah.
The
Those
wax
ones-
teeth would be a super fun size episode to do. I used to get those all the time as a little kid, and I completely forgot they existed.
remember
You
those.
just said that. I'm gonna have to look into that for a fun sized episode.
And they kind of
Didn't
taste like
some of them
something.
have like they're sugary, but they're like
Like
More,
like,
yeah, it tastes like a
wax.
candle.
like
Yeah.
candy corn. They were
a sweet candle.
almost but not quite like candy corn.
And you know what a candle
Yeah.
tastes like because
Oh, they were way worse.
So I think I don't know, I had a couple of costumes that were good over the years, but one time for whatever, I don't know why, whatever reason, I got the idea in my head that I was going to cross dress this is when I was in high school. So I think I borrowed like a dress from my sister or something, and she's a few years younger than me, so like it didn't really fit. It was pretty ridiculous looking. And I was probably like 15 or 16 at the time. And I went trick-or-treating in this damn thing. And it was pretty funny until we answered the door and there's this one guy who was being oddly aggressive and flirtatious with me. This old man. And like he was trying to play it. He was sort of playing it off as a joke, but not really. I was like, all right, peace
Right.
out. I think I'm going to go home and change now. This costume is no longer fun for me.
I got this fun size candy for you right here now. But
Yeah.
if you come on back over here, I might have the full size for you too.
Yeah, exactly.
Cross dressing is actually real quick to be nerdy, it's a Samhain tradition going back thousands of years. During the ancient Samhain celebration, the cross-dressing was kind of a popular thing amongst young people to, again, confuse the spirits and throw them off. So lots of men dressed in women's attire and vice versa. So you were just keeping the tradition alive there.
Yeah,
with
that
costume.
Without even knowing it.
Was there ever a time when people didn't cross-dress? I even saw a book. There's this whole book about how the Nazis in Germany cross-dressed. I swear.
Now I'm picturing Hitler in a dress. Thank you. Thank you very much.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Can you picture him?
I put on this dress, I put on the corset.
Can you picture him giving one of those speeches in the dress, and then wir sterben all die Juden, and going on his whole little, oh my God, this is crazy.
Did he wear a dress in Little Nicky, or was that a maid's outfit? Have you?
Oh, I know he got a pineapple stuffed off his ass.
Right, I think he was wearing like a sexy maid outfit when that happened, if I remember correctly.
That's almost as scary as Sexy Fauci.
That movie is a great freaking movie.
If he wasn't wearing it, I don't know what my brain was doing.
Yeah. You remember, was it Little Nicky or was it the dog or something like that? When he slept, he went like, la, 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 la. You remember like that? And then like the next door neighbor that was like in his apartment, like got like freaked out or whatever. He's like a bald headed kind of like not a very masculine man. I forget what the name of the character is. But that was one of those scenes where like it's one of those scenes. The first time I watched it, I don't know at that point if I had ever laughed harder. Like it's just uncontrollable laughter.
The one thing I have to say,
movie, though, man, even Ozzy was in it.
The one thing I have to say about that movie is, why did that guy have tits on his head? I just don't understand that.
Well, why not?
Yeah, why not?
Okay then.
Yeah, all right.
No.
Well,
that was great.
Yes. Moving on to my favorite costume is a non-costume. The very last time I went trick-or-treating was as a teenager, and I didn't have a costume. It was kind of last minute, and I went with some friends, and we went door to door. And when people are like, where's your costume? We're like, look, this is the last time we're ever going to trick-or-treat. Can you just give us some candy? And people did. People gave us candy. We got
right
a good
on.
haul. Yeah.
I mean,
Nice.
you're straight up with them. You're being real. So, yeah. Yeah, they probably respected that.
Give me my candy.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Like bucket list.
Yeah.
While we're on the topic of costumes, let's go over ETA, did you say your costume? Yeah, you said vampire, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we talked about all of our costumes when we were kids, but now we need to talk about the ones when we were older,
Oh, okay. Well, I don't really have one to top my cross-dressing one, I guess, when I'm older, because the older I got, the less I stopped dressing up for Halloween, I guess.
I don't know. My costumes just got shorter and shorter.
Yeah.
But,
well, I mean, there's I have two costumes in particular that, like, when I was older, like, there was a couple different Halloweens because there was this one house that I rented when I was younger with a couple of my buddies, and we used to always, like, it was a tradition to throw a big old Halloween party, like with kegs and everything. We had a great damn time. So, like, I had already mentioned, one of them was Sloth from the Goonies, and I actually spent like a lot of money on this damn mask. It was a very good quality mask. Agent Anderson, I think you've seen it before.
Yep.
If not, I can send you a picture of it. But anyway,
no, yeah, I think I have one on Google
quality.
Drive.
I had the white shirt, the suspenders, the torn pants and everything, the boots, and I also had a bag full of Baby Ruths, obviously, I'd just walk up to somebody, Baby Ruth.
That's authentic right there.
I had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, that's
and
a
the
fun
other
costume.
one that I really had a good time with was this one like costume suit that I bought off of, I think it was I forget what website, but it was a pretty good costume. I was super sperm, complete with tail and like muscles.
Oh my God! Of course you were.
It was a full body like mascot costume. It was like one of the best things I've ever done with my life.
Way to attract the ladies.
Oh yeah.
The
ladies love a virile man. I guess.
You're damn right. I was alpha that night. No, you want to talk about a good time? Yes, yes, sir. It was a good time. Like I can't really, probably for legal reasons, I probably can't go into the details, But I will say that there were multiple people at the end of the night that fell asleep with their shoes on, and therefore got, like cock cannons and like cock tanks and all sorts of different cocks, drawn on their face and stuff, because you can't go to sleep with your shoes on. You know what I mean?
Oh, is that how you stay safe?
Real. If you do that, well, I mean, you're in my opinion, if you go to sleep with your shoes on at a party, you are a degenerate. So you deserve it. You know what I mean?
Let's say, is that how you stay safe at an ETA party? Just take your shoes off before you're going to pass out?
Yeah. I don't cross those lines. There are rules to these things. And here's the thing, I'm a civilized man. You know what I mean? So. Yeah, that's why I don't cross those lines. No, if you go to sleep, if you have your socks on, maybe I'll shoot a scoff your way. You know what I mean? I might frown at you. But if you go to sleep with your shoes on, I mean, come on, it's open game.
What if you go to sleep naked? What if you have stripped from all your clothes because you're that drunk?
Well, that's a different story. That's a different story altogether.
What if you've done that, but your shoes are still on?
You know what? I might just stand there and clap. like, you know what? Respect. I don't know how you just did that, but you did. So you know what? I'm not even going to draw on you now. I'm just going to respect you.
All right. So a follow-up question to the costumes is, what costume have you seen on somebody else that's your favorite? And I'll start on this one because I got one that my personal favorite is I saw a picture of, there's this radio show I used to listen to. It was called Frosty, Heidi, and Frank. And it wasn't that great, but it was on and I was driving and I was bored. So, there's that. One of the hosts, I think it was Frosty.
That was 97.1, right?
Yeah. I think Frosty, I'm pretty sure it was him. He had a costume one year where he was a Catholic priest and he had like a dummy of a child strapped around his waist.
Oh my God.
And his head was like crotch level. I don't know if he invented that costume or if that's just the first time I saw it though. And I'm not trying to be offensive, but man, I thought that was absolutely hilarious.
Xander.
Extremely poor taste. No offense to Catholics out there. I'm not meaning to be offensive. It just tickled my funny bone.
I think the best costume I've ever actually seen in person was of the Predator. And there was one year where me and a bunch of my friends went down to Universal Studios down there by Hollywood. Mm-hmm. And on Halloween. I think it wasn't on Halloween. I think it was maybe the 29th or the 30th, but it was, it was right there, And this Predator outfit this guy had on, I don't know if he worked for Universal Studios, probably did. I don't know, but it was right there on the boardwalk, or all those different businesses and stuff are outside of Universal Studios. But this guy was the most realistic, movie quality, it was amazing. It was freaking amazing. It's what you would think the Predator would look like if it was real. You know what I mean? That I was awestruck. I was very impressed by that particular costume. But yeah, that's probably the best one I've ever seen.
Well, I have to admit, I am a sucker for the little kids, the ones who can barely talk, who are coming up to your door, trying to say trick or treat and forgetting to say please and thank you in their adorable little costumes. It just, warms my heart.
And then you just throw a handful of candy in their face.
No, then you give them extra candy because they're so cute.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
All right, Craig, how about you?
That's what I meant. I mean,
I really don't know. I'm trying to think and I'm just drawing blanks. I know I've seen a lot of interesting costumes, most of them outside of Halloween. I go to a lot of music festivals and I see some interesting things there, but
yeah, sure.
I can't really think of the best one I've seen.
No, I was thinking about
for Halloween. I've seen
costumes.
A couple good Bob Ross ones.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, Bob Ross.
Yeah. Seen a couple good ones.
Nice. All right, let's do some more trivia because I think it's fun. Okay, this is a good one. What was the name of Dracula's sidekick?
I
know this.
I know. It's on the tip of my tongue. I don't know.
Is it Renfield?
I think that's it. Let me check. Yeah, Renfield. Yes.
Good job.
Yes, that's it. It was on the tip of my tongue. Tip of my tongue. Okay. Next one.
I would have never guessed that.
From which words did bonfire originate?
What?
Oh, I don't know this one.
Yeah, I don't know this one either.
What does that even mean?
A bonfire is like a big fire, you know?
I know bonfires. I know bonfires are really important for Samhain, so it's like an important Halloween thing. But I have no idea like
I'm gonna
the
guess
etymology
Latin.
of it. Or
It
like
has
its origins.
Latin roots.
Nope.
Okay.
Bone and fire.
No.
Yeah, that's what it says.
You're making it up.
I'm not. It says it right here. Bone and fire. I guess if you're saying bone fire and you just say it really fast like bonfire, it could.
But why bone? Does it have an explanation?
Well, I guess bones are really challenging to burn, so you need a really big fire. I don't know.
I'll have to look this up later. I want to know
when you
more.
cook meat,
Yeah, maybe you cook the meat, and the fire's so big it just turns the meat to ash, and all that's left is the bones. Maybe, I don't know. All right, moving right along. I actually know the answer to this next one because we just did an episode on this. What does the name Dracula mean? Dracula.
Bloodsucker.
Order of the Dragon or something like that.
it's like the dragon kind of.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, or Dracula means the dragon's son.
I thought it was, what is it?
Okay.
Vlad the
Or the son of the
Impaler.
dragon because he was very fond of impaling.
Yeah. No, his last name was Dracula.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't it like something like it had something to do with like some Christian like martyr group or something like that? Some like Christian something or another that like Vlad the Impaler and his father were involved in. I actually listened to part of your guys' vampire episode today, and it's funny you guys did that because that's one of the things I want to cover as well. But I paused it right at the Vlad the part, but I already have some pre-existing knowledge about Vlad, but wasn't like Dracula tied to some Christian militant group essentially that was in the.
I
From
didn't
what
come
I
across
understand,
that.
like the name Dracula was like more of a title, like I think it was like Dracu, whatever means like the
Right.
dragon, and that's what his father was named, and then he was the
Right.
son of the dragon. That's why they named him Dracula.
Right.
All right, what's the
Yeah, I remember
answer?
that part, but I thought the name. Yeah.
This says, according to this website, the answer is son of the devil, but I didn't see that when I was reading up on it. I saw that either it meant, like devil or dragon, but I guess it just depends on how you interpret it. I don't know. All right, one more trivia for now, and then maybe we'll move on from that. Who was the first actor to play Wolfman?
Lon Chaney?
Oh, that's a good answer. Yeah, Lon Chaney. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Excellent.
Nice.
awesome. That's
I had no
going
idea.
back. That's going back a few years.
I was gonna say Adam West.
Just because.
He would make a good Wolfman. I'm willing to
Adam
bet
West the best.
he would make an excellent Wolfman. I'm
He was
sure.
the best Batman ever. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it depends on what style Batman you like. Personally, I'm partial to Michael Keaton, but that's just me.
What's your favorite werewolf movie though?
American Werewolf in
Do you
London.
have one?
Yeah, American Werewolf in London.
Yeah, same.
It goes without
Yeah.
saying, right?
Right.
That was an excellent movie. All right. Now, speaking of Halloween or horror-themed films, you actually had an episode on Halloween.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's actually a lot more interesting history to that movie than I had known about previously. For example, you mentioned that John Carpenter actually wrote the score to the movie, which is pretty interesting because I can't think of any other director or writer off the top of my head who also is able to write music. That's a pretty rare skill to have.
Yeah, that's one of like John Carpenter's big draws is he's kind of like a jack of all trades on his movies. He's involved in many aspects of the movies, but yeah, he scores most, if not all, of his films actually. So, and there's like a genre of music now that exists that's kind of like an 80s horror synthwave type genre, and it all kind of like draws most of its inspirations from John Carpenter's old movie scores. Yeah, he scored all his own movies.
Yeah. And you mentioned in that episode also a movie that most people have not heard about, but I actually had heard about this movie because I used to watch, if you've seen Cinemassacre's stuff or The Angry Video Game Nerd, he does some movie type stuff, and he did a review or a overview of the movie Black Christmas, which is actually the original slasher movie, and I'd never heard of it before I'd seen it on there, so it was interesting to hear you talking about it. So I guess the themes in there are pretty common and were borrowed upon heavily in following slasher films.
Yeah. Like, it really resembles Halloween, what that episode is going over. It resembles it in a lot of ways because it's, a group of people within a house being stalked and killed off by an unknown killer. I've actually only seen the movie, I think, once. And so I'm not as well versed in it as I am Halloween, but it, yeah, I remember watching it. I think the movie came out in 1971 or 73, somewhere in the early 70s. And it actually holds up quite well. I feel like it's on Shudder if anyone has Shudder, and it's actually pretty creepy. Like the killer in the movie is pretty creepy, and it's all tied around the holiday of Christmas, and yeah, it kind of set a lot of. It's got a lot of the same tropes that slashers went on to have, and I think Psycho is more so the first true slasher. But then Black Christmas following that, and then Texas Chainsaw, and then leading up to Halloween, and then after that happened, it became like an explosion with like Friday the 13th and all the Friday or nightmares and whatnot.
Suburban Sasquatch.
Yeah,
Haven't seen that one. Is that Suburban?
Classic.
Is that a slasher film?
Sure, why not? Yeah, no, it's a great film. It's a great film. Like just like it's up there in the ranks of like Freddy Got Fingered or Kung Pao or The Fist. A great movie. Should have won awards. You know what I mean? Should have, but didn't.
I'd have to say, if we're talking about like favorite anything horror or Halloween that you could sort of relate to it, it's not specifically a Halloween movie, but it is like a horror movie, and it's actually a slasher movie in space. Is Alien is probably my favorite from the genre. It's a really good movie.
Oh hell yeah!
The first
that's one movie I actually haven't seen, believe it or not. I've yet to get my hands on a copy of Alien. Yeah, I know a lot of people don't believe that, but yeah.
It's a fun movie.
Like yeah, when you eventually do, I mean, like watch it in a dark room with a good sound system and a good quality screen, and Sigourney Weaver will take you on a ride. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I'm ready to watch it. I guess I could rent it, but I just kind of wait for movies to pop up on streaming services before,
Yeah.
Even though it's an older movie, I've been waiting for it to pop up.
Then when the time is right, it's going to be right, and
yeah, it'll find me.
Yeah, exactly.
Around this time every year, that's when I pop in the Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, that's a good
classic.
That's a good choice.
Yeah, every year I watch it.
What's the dog's name on that movie? Zero?
Yeah, Zero.
Yeah, you were saying Gregory or Craig? Gregory's his Discord name.
Oh, I was gonna mention. I was gonna mention a couple of my favorite movies to watch around this time of year besides Halloween is like Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow. I think that movie like captures the vibe of Halloween like perfectly, and you get like that colonial, 19th, 18th century vibe going on. And Trick or Treat. I don't know if you guys have seen Trick or Treat, but that's a pretty good anthology movie. It's kind of corny, but it's fun. That's another good one to watch during the Halloween season.
I have not seen that one, but I do like anthology movies, though.
I recommend checking it.
What I like about them is if one of the stories isn't that great, it'll be over really soon anyways, so you don't have to suffer through like 2 hours of something you don't like. And then usually
Trick or Treat's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was say usually if there's like 3 or 4 in there, that'll be at least one that's really good. So it's sort of usually a mixed bag. Yeah.
Right. Trick or Treat's cool because all the stories within it mesh together. They're all taking place on the same night in the same town, and they all kind of mesh together. And they incorporate lots of different aspects of like traditional Halloween symbolism, like werewolves and all kinds of stuff. I definitely recommend checking that one out.
It sounds really like I want to say maybe I've seen it, but maybe I was like drunk.
You've probably seen the little villain from it is like that. He's like a little short guy, wears a bag over his head and a little orange outfit. No.
I mean, you want to talk about a classic? You know what I mean? A Halloween movie. You know what I mean? Any of the Leprechaun movies, any of them.
I haven't seen any of those since I was a little kid.
I don't think I've seen any of those, period.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah, really.
Oh no, you're missing. You are missing out, sir.
All right,
You're
I'll have to
missing
check them out.
There's, no.
I was
would
quite
just recommend. Is
I
all
was
I
quite
will.
sheltered as a child. I didn't see most of these movies. I was kind of, you know, stuck with Charlie Brown and the Great
Oh.
Pumpkin.
And also
Dude,
an excellent classic.
Leprechaun in the Hood. Leprechaun in the Hood, which I think was like, the peak of the series. You know what I mean?
Never heard of that one, but that sounds hilarious.
Oh, it was great. It was so goddamn.
Did you ever see she mentioned Charlie Brown on the topic of like children's Halloween specials? Have you ever seen the Grinch Night special?
No.
It was a Halloween.
I don't.
It
think
was
so.
another Grinch show. It was a television special, but it was centered around Halloween. It was a lot spookier and darker, and had some really trippy parts in it. Like it's a pretty crazy kids movie. But yeah, it was a Halloween special, but centered around the Grinch. That was a favorite of mine growing up.
I am
I
sorry.
don't know many
missed
people that actually know about that one.
That sounds really awesome.
We'll have to look that one up.
It's on YouTube.
Okay, great.
Yeah, it's on YouTube, whole thing. So, yeah.
Sweet.
It's like that Star Wars Christmas special.
The one with
Right,
the
but
Wookiees?
like the Grinch Halloween special.
Okay. Oh yeah. Oh boy, what a slow pace train wreck.
Right.
Slow motion train wreck. Yeah. Yeah, I've actually looked that one up just to see if it was really as bad as people said. It is. It's worse. Whatever you imagine is bad.
Oh,
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
very much
100%.
is.
Yeah.
You can see like for example on what's his name? Fucking Harrison's face. What is his name? That Indiana Jones motherfucker.
Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford. There you
Yeah.
go. Yeah, I was gonna say I was gonna pronounce his name wrong, but anyways, you could actually see it throughout multiple points in the special, like the disdain on his face, like for having to do this,
Right.
And like then what was her name? Carrie Fisher was her name? To play Princess Leia.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was stoned immaculate. She was all kinds of fucked up through a couple different parts of that.
She talked about that. She admits to doing all kinds of, drugs and smoking pot and that
she's
sort
open.
of thing. And
Yeah,
she's very open about it.
Yeah, she was pretty open about it. Yeah, but like, yeah, I don't know. It's one of those like train wrecks that's like, you have to watch it at least once, to gain a perspective, But
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's still kind of hard to watch.
I think I've watched like 20 minutes of that. That's about it.
I think that's enough.
That's
That's enough.
Yeah, that's enough.
I got the general idea of it.
Mhm.
All right, let's move on to the best Halloween. Have you guys ever had a good Halloween scare, or given or received,
Sure.
or seen or witnessed, or whatever?
I mean, giving and received is a whole nother topic. But
I don't think so outside of just going to like haunted houses and stuff. I don't know if I've had an actual like good scare
I had
on the holiday itself. Well, I remember when I was a little kid, my uncle picking me and my cousin up from trick or treat and him wearing like this really cheap werewolf mask. And I remember knowing that it was him, but being absolutely terrified at the same time. That's about it. That's the only scare I can think of that took place on Halloween itself.
Agent Ether or ETA.
Well, my brother actually used to scare the crap out of me, but mostly it was just a jumping out behind darkened buildings in his costume sort of thing. But I fell for it. Even through my early teens, he would get me every time.
That's a good scare. I had one year I was sitting in front of, it was when I like in high school, and I would sit in front of the house on a bale of hay, and I put on like this those Levi's jackets, and I put that on and a mask, and I stuffed some hay into my jacket so it looked like I was a dummy. And I would wait for people to walk by, and I couldn't, because I had like hay stuffed all over the place. I couldn't see who was there, but I could tell somebody was there. So I'd wait a little while. I'd wait till I hear him go trick or treat or whatever. Then I'd just kind of like move a little bit. I had like adults crying. I was scaring people so bad. It was crazy. But
hell yeah.
I stopped doing it because like I tried not to scare the kids, the little kids too bad. But when one group came by and I scared some little kids and they started crying, so I was like, all right, that's enough. And I don't want to scare kids,
Well, they're probably crying because they literally pissed themselves. You know, like
You're a bad person.
That's
Those
probably-
kids are traumatized.
yeah.
They need
Yeah, how dare you,
counseling.
sir.
It was hilarious though.
I think the most scared for sure I've ever been was when I was, I want to say I was 13 or 14. And I was with my buddy Trevor and my buddy Jonathan, and we were actually cutting through an elementary school to get from one part of a neighborhood to another part, you know, because this other part we hadn't gone trick or treating yet, you know what I mean? So you want to hit all the different, you know, areas. But anyways, we were cutting through this elementary school that was down the street from where I lived, and my buddy Trevor pushed me into like this big old mass of spider web.
Ew.
Like, in real life was a giant spider web with a big old tree spider in it. A big old one, dude. And mind you, like in reality, like these spiders aren't necessarily like they're not dangerous as far as like venomous, you know what I mean? But oh my good Lord, they are gnarly looking. Like they're big old brown and red tree spiders with giant legs and giant asses, like that you know, the kind of ass where like you plead, don't drop, don't
those night spiders are thick.
You know? Yeah, they're thick. They're thick as
they thick with triple C's.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, and like the motherfucker ended up on my face piece, dude, like right on my schnoz.
Oh no.
Like a tree spider right fucking there. And like, don't get me wrong, I hit it off my face real quick, but I felt every goddamn 8 legs that motherfucker had. Like, oh good. Like I still to this day it makes me shiver. You know, like, oh God. Oh, and I remember like recognizing the danger I was in like one full second before it happened, because my buddy Trevor was right behind me and he was pushing me forward. And he was like, what are you doing? Why are you stopping? Like, but go, dude. And I was like, no, boom, dude. Reality. Tree spider on your face. It was like, and then I just freaked out, of course, you know.
That's the worst.
Yeah, by far, that is the most scared I have ever been, like on Halloween.
Are you
by far?
Are you scared of spiders
It sucked.
now?
That's like
Dude,
traumatizing.
I will kill a spider. I don't. But well, here's the thing. Also, is like not only do they have like exo armor, you know what I mean, exoskin, whatever it's called. I don't know what it's called, but like they also have like sometimes like 6 or 8 eyes. I don't know how that's not superior. You know, we got 2 eyes. You know what I mean? Yeah, we might have this like brain or whatever in our dome piece, whatever, dude. But we only got 2 eyes. 8 eyes is in my book superior. You know what I mean? Like,
so they must
I don't
die.
trust those motherfuckers.
So you got to kill them all.
With fire, yes. Like, have you ever seen a spider on the ceiling following your every move?
I have not.
I would bet
actually.
that you have.
I thought those were AI.
Bullshit. No, bullshit.
I thought that was Big Brother watching
Right?
us.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That's like a spy drone there. Spider drone.
Right.
Which
Holy
reminds
shit.
me of
right.
another movie, excellent movie called Arachnophobia. I don't know if you guys have seen this.
I'm not seeing that movie.
Oh,
No.
It's been a long time
damn, that
since I've
movie
seen that
fucked
movie.
me up, dude. That movie fucked me up when I was younger.
Yeah.
Where do you think this is all coming from?
Yeah, that's once is enough. I've seen it once, and that's enough for me. And I don't even have arachnophobia.
Yeah.
That movie's just gross. Spiders and
That
stuff.
movie, yeah. Well
And,
done.
yeah, I
would just
wasn't-
say,
I wasn't
you know.
scared of spiders until I got bit by a spider twice as an adult, and it swelled the hell up, and it was like hot to the touch, and my whole neck kind of got stiff and achy and cranky. And looking back on it, I probably should have gone to the emergency room. Like I was probably having an allergic reaction or an infection because it hurt for like a week. Like for a week. And ever since then, I'm really scared of spiders. I won't go outside and cut the bushes anymore. I have to hire someone to do it.
Or just make me do it.
Somebody has to do it, and it's not me. There's no spiders are getting on me.
Yeah, they're just little spiders. They ain't gonna hurt nothing.
Unless they do.
Unless they do. All right, let's we're about an hour here. Let's close this off with a little bit more trivia. I got a couple more here. Here's what. Do you know who directed The Nightmare Before Christmas?
You know what? I'm not good at trivia. I don't know anything.
I know that.
Okay, who was it? Because I don't know.
Tim Burton.
It says Henry Selick. I would have thought
On The
it.
Nightmare Before Christmas?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was Tim Burton as well.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
No,
Oh.
it is Tim Burton.
I wonder, now I have to look it up.
Okay, look it up. Since, we're chilling.
Maybe he just produced it. But that's
Yeah.
definitely his aesthetic and everything.
Maybe
Yeah.
he wrote it and produced it and
Speaking of Tim Burton, I recently watched a silent movie from back in the 20s, The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. And it's like a German expressionist film. And watching that, I could see so much of the roots of like Tim Burton's whole aesthetic, like the way the sets are designed. Like it looked like a Tim Burton movie, but in the 20s. And it's the first silent movie I've ever been able to actually watch
I was
all the
going
way
to
through.
say it
Definitely
was silent, right?
recommend it
Silent
if it
film.
sounds interesting.
Huh.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, on Wikipedia, it says Henry Selick. So I guess it really was him.
Weird.
I was not
That's
aware
weird.
of that.
The only thing to trust more than the Google machine is Wiki.
Oh, yeah, they're super reliable. I've never found any fake information on there. There's a website that I used to go to every now and then just for some laughs. And if you've been on the internet for, if you're old school internet, you'll be aware it's Something Awful. And
Lemonparty.com.
if you hear somebody say Leroy Jenkins, they're talking about Something Awful, basically. But on their forums, they actually had a contest on there for who could edit something false into Wikipedia, and whoever got it there for the longest before somebody noticed won the contest. Like, I don't think you won a prize or anything. It was just sort of like a contest. So that's just one example of probably many of groups that are intentionally putting fake information on Wikipedia. In this case, just for fun, just to be trolls or whatever. But anyways, let's get to the trivia here. All right. Out of which vegetable were jack-o'-lanterns originally made? And I'm guessing Craig knows this because he has an episode about
You got this.
Turnips.
Cucumber.
Turnips, cucumber, and Craig?
Turnips and other assorted root vegetables.
Now, I actually only know this because I listened to Craig's podcast, that episode.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
So I thought that'd be a fun question. And let's see. Okay, here's a good one. According to superstition, if you stare into a mirror at midnight on Halloween, what will you see?
You'll lose your soul.
The Candyman.
No, what will you see? Not what will you lose.
Oh.
I don't know about that.
Bloody Mary?
I never heard this one.
That's not what you're gonna lose. That's a super.
Man, bear,
That's a
pig.
superstition.
That's like a, what do you call it? An urban myth.
Soul sounds like the best root. Whoever said soul, that's probably the best one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I'd go with soul as well. Oh no, you lose your future husband or wife.
Okay.
But what if you're already married?
Then they die of a heart attack.
Is that how you murder your spouse? I mean, get away with it.
No one will ever know.
Get away with it scot free. Let's see. One more. Okay, here's a good one. From which region in the world do pumpkins originate?
America?
Yeah, I mean, I would say North America.
I'm going to say Brazil.
Iceland.
Iceland. Central America. Okay.
I was
Oh.
closest?
Ah, shit.
Well, that's part of North America, so I win.
No. I won't.
All right.
We all win.
Well, thanks so much for coming on the show today, Craig. Why don't you tell everybody once again, the name of your podcast, where we can find you, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's Hallofiend, HALLOFIEND, and I'm pretty sure it can be found wherever any podcast is found, but mostly I share the Spotify link, so find me on Spotify or Podcast Addict or any of those places. Anchor.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Nice.
that about wraps it up for this week's episode. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the show, you can really help us out by suggesting us to your friends.
Keep it strange.